Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Ben 10 Retrospectives. And I apologize in advance if this vlog is going to be is going to seem a little rushed, but I do have but I have something that I really need to do in a couple hours and it takes like an hour to get to there via car. So I'm trying to get this out as quickly as possible. And if some viewers may be thinking, "Oh, then why are you doing this? Why don't you do it later?" Well, because it's going to be late by the time I get back to my house, it's going to be nighttime. I'm going to be tired and other people may think, well, why don't you just put this off till tomorrow? Well, I like to keep things on a schedule, and of course, many others, they say, well, then why don't you just not do it? To which point I say, I look forward to these every week, and I will do them no matter what. Even if it could be raining molten lava, and I would still be doing this. So, yeah. Anyway, now that long introduction is over, that most likely wasted more time. Let's talk about episode 18 of the original Ben 10 series, Grudge Match, and this is also the next episode that features Kevin after he took his swan dive off of the Golden Gate Bridge and Framed. So pretty much the episode opens with Ben and Kevin just duking it out as before the episode even started. It looks like Kevin attacked the rust bucket and now he and Ben are duking it out in a wind is it they're windmills? Yeah, they're windmills. As in a field of windmills. It's getting they're going at it. They're doing everything they can. And Kevin finally calls himself Kevin 11 because he has all of Ben's powers plus his original absorbing powers. So yeah, but in the middle of their fight, they're suddenly both bathed in this weird red light that teleports them away, and suddenly they both find themselves in an arena, in two separate arenas, and find themselves facing off against robots. And ultimately Ben and Kevin were able to best the robots using their respective methods, and it turns out that this is actually a flying arena that goes from planet to planet, captures those world's greatest warriors, and then forces them to fight. And pretty much it keeps them out there as prisoners so that they can be repeatedly going to fights, and as such, and pretty much the stronger you are, the more respected you are, and in this case, the best of the best is an alien called Technorg. But Kevin, of course, here, he's blaming Ben for all this, even though it looks like he thrives off of the attention, because after he beats his robot, he's just like, yeah, but Ben wants to get off of here, and of course, Kevin is still trying to sabotage Ben by when Technorg comes by to get his offerings for lunch. Kevin makes it look like Ben threw a spoon in his face, so Ben uses the Omnitrix to transforms into forms to fight him, and the owner of the ship, who's been keeping an eye on Ben and Kevin the whole time they've been here, thinks that their relationship actually would make them a very creative team. So he teleports them to his room, and after he introduces himself as his Slicks Vigma, and calls the ship the Mega, and reveals the name of the ship as the Mega Cruiser, he attaches a shackle to Ben and Kevin's legs that ensures that regardless of their personal feelings towards each other, they'll have to work together, because if one of them dies, then so will the other, thanks to the shackle. So now this is what forces them to have to work together. So they're teleported to the arena. Their next opponent is Technorg. And it looks like they're going to lose, but when Kevin just starts randomly using various powers, Ben notices that his Heat Blast Flames and Stink Blast Slimes seem to actually be reacting to each other, and so Ben tells Kevin, mix your powers together, which it turns out actually makes up for the fact that all of Kevin's powers are just a 1/10 of Ben's. So using the combination of as Ben puts it, accelerates strength, forearm strength, and diamond hit invulnerability, they're able to actually destroy Technorg. Because Technorg has a robotic arm. They're able to disable the arm, take out Technorg, and before Kevin can finish him off, Ben stops him, and suddenly Kevin and Ben are now the new champs, and Technorg, you'd think he would be angry, but he's actually now grateful to Ben because Ben saved his life, not only defeated him, but spared his life. But Ben still wants to get off this ship, and he manages to root all the prisoners together so that they can not only disable the shot callers, but try and get out. And once this happens, after they manage to do this, Ben and Kevin go to Slicks's little hideout, because when they were there, he said that he could see everything on the ship, and he can control everything on the ship. But it turns out that he meant that literally, as he's aware of the fact that they attempted to escape, so he's captured all the prisoners, and as the next show, he's going to have them all publicly killed, which kind of makes you wonder why none of the onlookers are doing this, because it's an active arena that people are paying to see, that people are apparently paying to see, all these different aliens and so forth, and maybe they're criminals, but I'm just kind of thinking to myself, why would none of them ever try to report this? Because Slicks is kidnapping people. They even state he has gone to various planets, kidnapping the people on these planets and forcing them to fight. I'm just kind of wondering why none of these people ever call them out on it. I suppose you could say that maybe they think that this is all just a show, but I think for something like this, they probably suspect that maybe something's wrong, and even if they don't suspect, they probably, I think, at least someone would speak up, and you could still say that maybe they're criminals. This is all they all know this is illegal and they don't want to tell anyone. But in which case, wouldn't someone still be investigating the disappearance of these people from their various planets? Because they at least show that there are some things like space cops. They got a space prison that we see in one of the movies, so I'm guessing there'd probably be space cops. But I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sorry. So anyway, so Ben and Kevin fight through all the guards. They get to Slicks, and Ben, of course, says, "Yeah, we need him. You have to ease up. We need him if we want to access the escape pods." But Kevin I think his stupid meter's kind of gone up a little, as Kevin just wants to punch things, and after he throws Slicks out into the ground, suddenly the guards start short-circuiting, and then Ben suddenly realizes the truth. That when Slicks meant he controlled the ship, it turns out that it's because he's a machine. He's the literal control console. He's a robot that is interfaced with the ship, and through him he can do all this stuff. So before Kevin can finish Slicks off, Ben goes upgrade, merges with Slicks, gets rid of the shackles so they aren't tied together anymore. And he saves all the prisoners, but Slicks still has some degree of control, so because Slicks was going to access an intergalactic hyperjump to gather more warriors, and Slicks, still with his bit of control, accesses that, so Ben can't override it. So Ben quickly teleports everyone to the escape pod room, except Kevin, who is somehow already there. Don't ask me how, he just got there. And so they all get out, but Technorg is reluctant because he's still grateful to Ben. He wants to serve him, but Ben still pushes him into an escape pod. But before Ben can escape himself, the Omnitrix times out, so he has to demerge from Slicks, and Slicks almost kills him, but Kevin saves Ben's life because, well, Kevin wants to kill Ben. And it turns out and so of course Ben, it looks like Ben's screwed. The Omnitrix just timed out. It looks like he's almost done, but then the Omnitrix miraculously comes back on. Ben activates it quickly before Kevin can impale him with his diamond arm, and Ben winds up revealing to Kevin, and to me, because this was actually the first episode I saw. This was the first episode I saw him in. He reveals Cannonball to him and proceeds to whoop Kevin all around and go to the escape pod. Kevin's about to get him, but turns out Technorg never left, so Technorg saves Ben, sends him back home, and then Kevin and Technorg are now on the Mega Cruiser as it jumps over to the next galaxy. So, honestly, I still like the episode. It's probably not the best. It's probably somewhere like a 3 out of all the Kevin episodes. But I still think it's actually I still think it's a nice episode, because I love Kevin as a dark doppelganger to Ben, and his attitude is just more immature than Ben's, and I kind of like that. I do, and I know it's the whole hero and villain have to work together if they want to survive thing, and they even found a way to make it work, because considering Kevin's stupidity in this episode, he wouldn't have agreed to it under normal circumstances, but because of the collar that's attached to him and Ben, they have to work together regardless of their feelings, because if one of them because Kevin can't kill Ben, because if he kills Ben, he'll die. So it's a nice tool to keep everything in order. But ironically, I think what makes this episode work is actually the bit of character development we get with Ben. Because again, there's still some good stuff. I like the action, and while there are some kind of plot holes in like little things that just kind of jump around, or just how people can get where, and again, why no one's reporting this, but I think what's actually kind of a strength of the episode, and this is something that I had not noticed when I was younger, is that this is actually one of the few times that we see this is actually one of the few times in the show where we see Ben actually growing as a hero. Like, I know he learns lessons, he gains more experience in every episode, but in this case, it's kind of a way we see it pay off, because I mentioned before that one of Ben's strengths is that he can be creative. When the Omnitrix times out, he can actually use whatever he has to his advantage and still somehow come out and somehow get a win. And in this case, he does just that. It's how he beats the robot, because in the beginning, because he was Diamond Head, but then it timed out, but then he timed out before the robot was destroyed. So Ben was able to beat it by using one of its stray arms that he had cut off earlier in the fights. But in this case, not only is he creative and actually thinks outside the box, but he actually acts surprisingly mature. Like, he still is Ben. His personality is still intact. He still jokes around, but unlike other episodes, he has to be the voice of reason here. He's forced to work with Kevin, who's even more of a dumbass than Ben. And so, and in this case, he's the one that says we need to work together. We have to work. We need to find. He's the one that's keeping track. He's the one that's keeping all this information intact. He's actually the one that's saying we have to do more than just hit things here. And in this case, it actually kind of shows his development as a hero, that he's learning with his experiences, and actually shows that when the situation kind of demands it, he can be surprisingly mature, despite the fact he's a 10-year-old. Which I think kind of shows that he has grown with his experiences, because he's keeping track of all this information. He's the one that organizes everyone to get all this together. He's the one that's keeping he's even the one that gets Kevin that's able to keep Kevin in line some points. And it's obviously still Ben. It's surprisingly someone coming in. It's actually surprisingly mature for the character. And it actually feels natural, considering what Ben does, everything prior to this episode, and that all the experience that Ben has accumulated actually has made him a better hero. Which I didn't notice before, but actually, I think is a very nice touch that shows that that Ben is growing as time goes on. So, I think that's really the best thing. So, on the whole, still a good episode. I thought. Sorry, little intrusion, but anyway, I'm just gonna wrap this up now. I thought it was a good episode. Again, it's a Kevin 11 episode, so I like those, and I like that. I like that it actually does show growth, and overall, yeah, still a good episode. So, yeah. I'm Sam Johnson. Thank you for watching, and tune in next week where we look at episode 19 of the original Ben 10 series. So, yeah. Again, thank you for watching. I'm Sam Johnson, and I'll see you next week. Take care.